Hi, so this is the extra credit Pencast problem. And for the first one, we have the lottery prize of 12 million paid at 3 million for 4 years at a 7% interest rate. First ticket year per year. Okay, so for the first one, we have T equals 0 since it's paid immediately, and PV equals 3 million divided by 1 plus 0.07, which just to the power of 0, and that'll just be 3 million. And then T to the 1 for the next one would be 3 million divided by 1 plus 0.07 to the second, or to the first. And then that would equal out to 2,803,738.32 cents. And then T to the 2 would be 3 million once again divided by 1 plus 0.07. Then that would equal out to 2,620,316 and 18 cents. And then next one is T to the 4, PV 3 million divided by 1 plus 0.07 to the third power, and then that would equal 2,448,893 and 63 cents. So then after you get all of that, you just add them all up. So we get 3 million plus 3 million plus the 738.32 plus the 260 and 20 for 316 and 18 cents plus the 2,448.893 and 63 cents. And then so you add that all up and you get 10,872 and 948 and 13 cents. So yeah, from that you get $10,872 and $948.13 for the first one. And then next we have the Pencast. The second problem is the table showing expected 1-year interest rates. So first one is the graph. So we draw the graph. So we draw the x-axis, and that will be the rate of years to maturity, and that ranges from 1 to 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then for the y, or the vertical axis, we have the interest rate, which goes from 0% to 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%, 5%, 6%, and then all the way up to 7%. So yeah, for each one. So we have first point would be 1.3, and then 2, 4.5, 3, 3.6, 4, 6.5, and then so 4.6.5, 3.6, 4, 6.5, and then 4, 6.5 again. So we have that, and then so we have the graph just go kind of slowly upwards as it plateaus at the end, and kind of just like leans off at the very end of it. And then so after that, next we have the liquidity premiums. So for year one, it's just 3% minus 3%, which would give us 0%. Then for the second one, we have what was it? 4.5 minus 3%. 3% plus 4% divided by 2, which equals out to 4.5 minus 3.5, which gives us 1%. Then for year 3, we have 6 minus 3 plus 3% plus 4% plus 5%, which equals out to what was it? Oh no, divided by 3, which then equals out to 6% minus 4%, which would then give us 2%. And then we have next one, year 4, which is 6.5 minus 3 plus 4 plus 5, and then plus 5 again percent, divided by 4, and that equals 6.5 minus 4.25, which equals 2.25%. And then finally for year 5, we have 6.5 minus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 5 plus 4%, which is then divided by 5. And then that equals out to 6.5 minus 4.2%, which one then gives us 2.3%. So that's all the liquidity premiums for that one. And then pretty much next is explain how the Fed Reserve used forward guidance in the 2007-2009 crisis. And basically, they would just use forward guidance by kind of like convincing the markets that the future short-term rates will remain low. And so then as they get convinced of that, the Fed then lowers the expected average of future short-term rates, which would then reduce the long-term rates and help it. So then next we have problem 3, which is Marcus kind of managing the Chicago operations. So number 1 is the fixed percentage to work hard. So we have the expected expected payment if he's lazy. So which is 0.50 times P times 10,000, and then 0.50 times P times 40,000. Or wait, 40,000, which would then equal to 5,000 plus 20,000, which gives us 25,000. And then so that's for his lazy. And now we have if he works hard, that would then be first one would be 0.2 and then P times 10,000, and then plus 0.80 times P times 40,000, which would then equal to 2,000 plus 32,000, which equals 34,000. And then so we do 34 minus 25, and that equals out to 9,000 P. And then so P is 1,500 over 9,000. And then for that it transfers to 1/6, and then the 1/6 goes to 0.667 or 0.1667, which then equals out to 16.67%. And then, so that is the fixed percentage to work hard, 16.67%. And then for part 2, we have the profit of the owner. So the owner keeps 1p of the profits. So then we get 1/6, which then equals out to 5/6. So then we have the owner's expected profit being times so it's 5/6 times 34,000, which then equals out to 70,000 divided by 6, which then equals to 28,333.33 cents. And then the 200,333.33 cents is the owner's profits. And then next one we have is problem number 4. So so the current stock, calculate the current stock price using the Gordon growth model. So we do that using P and 0 and equals 2.50 divided by 0.14 minus 0.09, and then that equals to 2.5 divided by 0.05, which would equal 50. And then we calculate the new stock price with the 6%, right? Yeah, and then to calculate new stock price, P 2.50 minus 0.15 minus 0.11 equals 2.50 divided by 0.04, which equals out to $62.60. So that would mean the price rose, and the direction of the price that kind of matters on the growth rate out. The direction of price change matters on the growth rate because the rate outweighs the increase in required return, as the denominator determines the magnitude of the valuation. And then finally, for problem 5, we have the Riverside Bank excess reserves. So first one is total deposits, and that is 24 divided by 0.08, which would equal 300. So that's the first one for that. And then we have to do the deposit outflow of 6 million, which is 300. So yeah, so the deposit outflow of 6 million. So we take 300 minus 6, and we do get that to 294 million. And then we take 0.08 times 294, and that gets us down to 23.52 million. And then we round that to 24. So then we take 24 minus 6, and we equal 18. And then we take that, and then we get the cost of reserve shortage, which is reserve shortage is 23.52 minus 18, and that comes out to 5.52. And then so the dollar cost of reserve shortage is then 5.52 times 0.0040 equals 0.002208, and then that comes out to $22,080. And then so for them, we have to have the alternative solutions for them instead of doing that. So I said the first one could be they would sell securities, and by selling securities, the trade-off is the loss of future interest income from those assets. And then for number 2, they could also reduce loans, And the trade-off for reducing loans is also the loss of interest income from the loans, and the customers are more likely to discharge the bank from now on after that. I just have thing from 1, and then here's the big part of the graph too, where it's kind of, you see it slopes up and to the side. It's for the graph. All right. Thank you. Have a good one.